Does that mean we'll be any different in this relationship already? What mistakes that we may have made before when building the relationship will we definitely not make again?
Trust but verify. This is Ronald Reagan's great commandment. Donald Trump brought it up. We will not forget it. This is a combination of civilizational understanding of the current stage of development, when national interests must be put in the foreground, and when it is clear that globalization has been destroyed by the efforts, including those of the previous administration. They started using the dollar as a weapon. Even before he became president, after the election, Trump said that Joe Biden had made a colossal mistake, if not a crime, when he started using the dollar to punish certain countries. Accordingly, not only those whom he was trying to punish by depriving them of the opportunity to use it, but also others began to take a closer look. Now Russia is being punished, Iran, Venezuela, someone else. What if next time some of us don't like it? Remember how Biden insulted Saudi Arabia and then had to go to make peace. Everyone roughly thinks the same way. Suddenly some US administration, each administration can cancel everything that the previous one agreed upon, comes and doesn't like someone who is not on the blacklist. Maybe in this case it would be better to be on the safe side and not only create their own currency, but use national currencies in settlements, not the dollar or the euro. Europeans are even less predictable people. Payment platforms such as BRICS are now being discussed. This process can no longer be stopped. US President Trump is a man of action. He doesn't like to philosophize. He likes to solve issues. He said that the United States urgently needs Greenland for its security. We talked to the Americans about this, and I have a complete feeling that they understood it. Such comparisons are very important to them. That Ukraine is several orders of magnitude more important for Russia's legitimate security interests than Greenland is for the security of the United States. They realize that. By the way, about Greenland, it's a disgraceful phenomenon. NATO Secretary General Rutte, before the meeting with the American president in the White House, expressed the hope that the United States would not involve NATO in the Greenland issue. What does it turn out to be? The man who is obliged to protect the interests of member states, Denmark, which now owns Greenland, is a member of NATO, and not to allow violation of territorial integrity of the bloc's member states, says that he is doing this, but he does not even want to comment on Greenland. At the same time, on Ukraine, which is not a member of the North Atlantic Alliance and will never be, Mr. Rutte does not hesitate to say that they demand that no one dare to violate the territorial integrity of Ukraine in the slightest degree. Territorial integrity of Denmark. Please, as much as you want, but do not touch Ukraine. A funny and pathetic man.
The Americans want to involve China in START 3. How realistic does this idea seem to you?
It's up to China. We have said that many times. Beijing has repeatedly made comments when this topic has come up in the public space. They boil down to the fact that China's nuclear arsenal is not commensurate with the nuclear arsenals of the United States and Russia. When a comparable level is reached, it will be possible to think about how the nuclear powers will interact further. We are still working in the Nuclear 5 at the level of representatives to the UN. There are also meetings at the level of deputy ministers. At our initiative, an online summit was held in January 2022, when the Gorbachev-Reagan formula that there can be no winner in a nuclear war and that it should never be unleashed was translated into a pentagonal format. The entire Nuclear 5 has repeated this formula. We are not against continuing to work in this format. By the way, it has never stopped. It mainly discusses confidence-building measures, something that is not related to any reductions or, in general, to discussing the quantitative parameters of nuclear arsenals and the avoidance of any incidents. US President Trump, and Biden before him, says that China should be involved in these negotiations. We had this position. Firstly, it is up to Beijing. As Beijing decides, we will fully respect its choice. If we talk about expanding the circle of participants, where should we put France and Britain? These two countries, together with the United States, are members of the same alliance that during the Biden years, and even before that, had few kind words for us, and during his presidency simply declared us the main threat. If we are the main threat and they say to us, let's talk to you, but don't touch these two sides, it's not fair. The Russian-American dialogue on strategic stability must be restored. We agree with this. Of course, this can only be done on the basis of a return to the principles that underpin the Strategic Offensive Arms Treaty and are reflected in its preamble, including the link between strategic offensive and strategic defensive arms, including mutual respect and an agreement to conduct business solely on the basis of equality. As long as we are, in fact, doctrinally the enemy, What kind of stability can we talk about? We are in favor of negotiations on all fronts. We are for hockey and football. These are not games, by the way, but what people want. In sports, the overwhelming majority of Russian and American masters, and masters of any other country, including Western ones, consider it absolutely abnormal what is happening with regard to the suspension of Russian and Belarusian athletes, as well as with regard to how a man, calling himself a woman, beats a real woman in a boxing match. There is a realization in the administration of US President Trump that it is unacceptable to pervert human nature and traditional values, religious, cultural, moral. This should have a galvanizing effect on the entire Western society. I hope it will.